everyone, and welcome back to Homer Lake Forest Preserve. We wanted to take the occasion of the winter solstice to talk about all the reasons why we enjoy hiking in the wintertime and why sometimes it can even be better than hiking in the warmer months. We also wanted to give you some tips on what you can do when you're planning your next outdoor excursion to ensure that you have the best experience possible. Now, when you're thinking about going for a nature walk in the wintertime, it's important to plan ahead. Check your local weather forecast before you leave the house and see what the temperature looks like for the entire day. Temperatures can drop a lot throughout the day, so it's really important to pay attention to those changes. Also, it's very important to make sure you wear shoes that will keep your feet warm and dry. It's another really good idea to dress in layers, because that way if you get too warm, you can take off certain layers like your hat or your gloves. There's still a lot going on in nature in the wintertime. The snow-covered landscape can look magical. Today, we're going to take you through Homer Lake Forest Preserve and show you some of the things that we like to look for and pay attention to when we're walking in the wintertime. One of the first things we like to look for are animal footprints. It can be a lot of fun to try and identify which animals left behind which tracks. Look at these small footprints all over this log. We think that these are probably from a squirrel. It's not always easy to identify an animal by its track right away, so you have to consider other factors like the pattern, the location, and especially the size. There are also many field guides with pictures of tracks of different animals that can be helpful. If you can't figure it out right away, don't get discouraged. It can be really tricky. One of the reasons why hiking in the wintertime can be better than in the warmer months is because all of the trees have dropped their leaves, which makes it much easier to see things like nests and birds. Check out this pileated woodpecker. It's pretty hard to see, but see if you can spot the bright red on the back of its head. The winter can be a really good time to practice your bird identification skills. Since there aren't a lot of bright colors in the landscape in the winter, it can be easier to spot some brightly colored birds. It's also a really great time to watch birds at bird feeders because they will visit feeders more often in the winter when other food sources are scarce. The winter can be a great time to practice your bird identification skills. Without all of the green foliage, birds are much easier to see. Without leaves in the way, you can pay attention to the other living things within a tree. Many animals like to make homes inside the tree cavities in the wintertime. We've seen animals like raccoons and owls here at Homer Lake. Winter can be an excellent time to look for owls because it's close to the start of their breeding season. They often roost in evergreen trees and can sometimes be seen perched in them in the daytime, if you're lucky enough to not be fooled by their camouflage. Bodies of water like lakes and rivers are still very active in the wintertime, even if the water is frozen over. Critters will dive for fish if there's an opening in the ice, and you can usually see tracks in the ice where animals have crossed. Here's some tracks that we found in some slushy ice. It's really hard to tell what animal left these behind. Judging by the size of the tracks, our best guess is that this was a small to medium-sized mammal. You don't have to wait for a fresh snow to have an interesting wintertime hike. If you pay attention to your surroundings, you'll discover all kinds of things. Nature doesn't stop being active in the colder months, and neither should you. Visit any of the Champaign County Forest Preserves and remember these tips, and you'll be sure to have a memorable experience.